Hello everyone, welcome my YouTube channel. Breaking news. Where Russia plans to deploy Iranian ballistic missiles and what the Pentagon said about it. Ukraine expects Russia to start using ballistic missiles received from Iran already this month. The military command of Russian armed forces plans to deploy Iranian ballistic missiles to the north from Ukraine, informs Yuri Inat, the spokesman of the Air Force Command of the Ukrainian Army, during a briefing at Media Center Ukraine on November 1st. As noted by the official, the Russians want to place the missile systems in a way so that they will threaten the entire territory of Ukraine. Based on that, we can assume that Russians will launch them from Belarus, just as they did before, with their other missiles and Shahed-type drones. Air Force representative also pointed out that Ukraine's air defense will have hard time dealing with Iranian missiles with the weapons available to the Ukrainian military. We have anti-aircraft systems but not anti-missile ones, he noted. As a reminder, Russia was earlier reported to have intention of acquiring not only kamikaze drones but ballistic missiles, too. The weapons in question are Fateh 110 and Zolfagar with firing ranges of 300 km and 700 km respectively. In an interview to The Drive, Defense Intelligence Chief Kirillo Budanov stated Russia could start using them in November. At the same time, we should also pay attention to the fact that U.S. intelligence is cautious when speaking about the Iranian missiles for Russia. In particular, during the October 31st briefing at the Pentagon, a senior defense official said they've seen press reports, yet had no details to tell the journalists. And why Biden is sending U.S. weapons experts into Ukraine. The Pentagon announced this week it is sending weapons experts into Ukraine to inspect American-supplied arms being used against Russia. The group is among the first U.S. military members in the country, apart from those providing security at the U.S. Embassy in Kyiv. President Biden has pledged that U.S. troops will not be sent into the fight, but this week's announcement comes amid rising concern, particularly among Republicans, about how effectively Ukraine is utilizing U.S. military support. A senior Defense Department official told reporters on Monday that it had not seen credible evidence of the diversion of U.S.-provided weapons. Nonetheless, we are keenly aware of the possible risk of illicit diversion and are proactively taking all available steps to prevent this from happening. The Pentagon has not said how many weapons experts are being sent to Ukraine or where they will operate. The official said inspections will not take place close to the front lines. House GOP leader Kevin McCarthy, Caliph, set off a firestorm last month when he said a Republican majority would not issue a blank check to Ukraine. McCarthy and other GOP leaders sought to clarify that it would not seek to scale back support for Ukraine's fight against Russia, but instead wanted to increase oversight of U.S. aid. I think you'll see if we get the majority, more oversight and accountability in terms of funding and where the money's going, and I think the American taxpayer deserves that, Representative Michael McCall, R. Texas, the top Republican on the House Foreign Affairs Committee, told Bloomberg Television last month. Still, members of McCarthy's own party have accused him of backing off Ukraine's support as some on the right question the need to spend billions on the war. Maybe in his mind, he actually did believe that all he was saying is, hey, we want to have some oversight in this, Representative Adam Kinzinger, R.I.L. told CNN. But what he did, you're giving aid and comfort to the enemy, intentionally or unintentionally. The U.S. has committed nearly $20 billion in security assistance to Ukraine since January 2021, including rocket and air defense systems that have helped counter Russia's superior military might. The Biden administration has pledged to keep up its support until the war is won. However, NBC News reported this week that Biden lost his temper with Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky during a call over the summer. The weapons inspections are part of a broader plan released by the State Department last week to counter the diversion of advanced weapons in Ukraine. It noted that Russian forces capturing the weapons was the main source of weapons loss so far in the war. Wars can provide opportunities for weapons to fall into private hands via theft or illicit sales, sometimes creating black markets for arms that endure for decades, said a fact sheet on the plan. To counter that risk, the U.S. will work with Ukraine's military and other officials to better account for weapons, safeguard weapons, identify and investigate suspected arms trafficking, and ramp up monitoring on Ukraine's borders. The defense official said the weapons experts now in Ukraine have already conducted several inspections, as part of the U.S. Defense Attaché in Ukraine and the U.S. Office of Defense Cooperation. U.S. Marines have been stationed at the U.S. Embassy in Kyiv since it reopened in May, after closing at the start of the war in February. Jeffrey Price, a former Defense Department special counsel now at the Johns Hopkins University's School of Advanced International Studies, said the weapons experts were part of a normalizing of U.S. assistance after the surge in support this year. I think, in a way, the system is just catching up to some of the standard procedures for accountability, he said. It doesn't disincent accountability that there's been some in Congress who are calling for accountability, he added. Price said he has not seen any evidence that Ukraine is misusing or selling off U.S. weapons. Ukrainians are fighting for their lives. They're fighting for their country, he said. And I haven't seen any evidence of significant diversion of the assistance that we've been providing. U.S. military now monitoring use of Western weapons in Ukraine. U.S. military forces are now monitoring how Ukrainians account for Western-provided weapons they receive, a senior U.S. defense official told Pentagon reporters Monday, AP reported. The official did not detail how close to the battlefront the U.S. troops are getting but said they are going where security conditions allow. The U.S. Defense Attaché and the U.S. Office of Defense Cooperation team that is in Kyiv have conducted several inspections, the official said, noting that Ukrainian officials have been transparent about the weapons distribution and are supporting the inspections. Senior Russian military leaders reportedly discussed using tactical nukes as losses in Ukraine. Senior Russian military leaders recently had discussions on when and how the Kremlin might use a tactical nuclear weapon in Ukraine, the New York Times reported early Wednesday, citing multiple senior U.S. officials. Russian President Vladimir Putin, the only one in Russia who could order a nuclear attack, was not part of the discussions. The intelligence about the discussions, which circulated within the U.S. government in mid-October, did not change the prevailing assessment that Russia is not taking steps to actually use a tactical nuke or dirty bomb in Ukraine, the Times reports. The fact that these senior Russian officials were even discussing the option, however, alarmed the Biden administration because it showed how frustrated Russian generals were about their failures on the ground, and suggests Putin's veiled threats to use nuclear weapons might not just be words. A tactical nuke is a relatively low-yield nuclear weapon, and a dirty bomb is a conventional explosive laced with radioactive material. Both would spread radiation and terror around Ukraine. We've been clear from the outset that Russia's comments about the potential use of nuclear weapons are deeply concerning, and we take them seriously, National Security Council spokesman John Kirby told The Times. We continue to monitor this as best we can, and we see no indications that Russia is making preparations for such use. Good day to everyone.